Hello, hello. Welcome to everyone here tonight, Thursday night on planet Earth once again. How is everyone doing out there? I hope you guys are all doing great. Well, I just wanted to extend my appreciation to each and every single one of you for being here, for spending your time with me, the real Ishmael Perez, tonight. I appreciate that. Tonight, we're going to go over two subjects. The first one is I want to touch about a little bit about the Conscious Life Expo as one of the biggest conferences in the history of the spiritual community. I also want to go over the significance of the different types of star beings that are being incarnated at this time, right? The indigos, the crystals, which many of you here are, otherwise you wouldn't be here at this time, right? Like attracts like. We're also going to discover who the rainbow children are and their role in the ascension of our planet. So, with that in mind, I also want to remind you guys, if you guys haven't had yet the opportunity to subscribe to my channel, please do. And while you're doing that, don't forget to hit the like button and also share this video with a friend or two. It'll help my channel grow. As you guys know, I am competing with my own pirated channels, right? People who are stealing my content, stealing my interviews, including my lives, and are reposting them on these other channels that are called Ishmael Perez Interview, Ishmael Perez Cosmic, Ishmael Perez Metaverse, and so on and so forth. So make sure that you guys please share this video with as many people as possible. And don't forget to subscribe because it really helps the channel grow. So with that in mind, I want to also extend appreciation and gratitude to the people behind Conscious Life Expo because of the fact that, it's a conference that allows people like ourselves, people who are in the know, right? People who are nonconformist, people who want to expand their mind beyond the norm. It allows people like us to come together on a weekend where thousands and thousands of people come from all over the world. It is believed that about 15,000 to 20,000 people, go to the LAX once a year to visit the Conscious Life Expo. And it's not just about disclosing, UFO stuff, alien activities. It's also about spiritual enlightenment. A lot of the world's greatest influential leaders in this community are presenting there, and I just wanted to thank the people behind Conscious Life Expo for putting such a conference together. And I believe that they've been existing. I believe that they've been existing for over 20 years now, if I'm not correct. And it is a wonderful opportunity to also check out the different booths, the different alternative integrative modalities, right? The different spiritual literature. It's a wide diversity of people that attend this conference. And I'm going to be presenting Saturday the 11th. I'm going to be presenting in the rabbit hole from 10 a.m. to about 11:30 a.m. So I'm going to be giving a PowerPoint presentation breaking down the whole cosmic history, the war with AI, and much more. And then I'm also going to be speaking on the global or what is known as the Ascension Global panel, the Global Ascension panel that is going to be hosted by Deborah Gusti on Sunday from 5 p.m. to 6:30, or I think it's from 5 p.m. to 7:30. That's a 2-hour panel. So I'm sure I'm going to be sharing the stage with legends like JJ Hortak and others, that have been doing this for over 40 years. It is an honor to be presenting at such a in such a great environment where only the legends are there, and of course all the people that have come in recent years. And I'm very grateful, guys. I'm very grateful that I am a big part of this community. When I first published my book, I didn't think it was going to happen like this for me. I thought it was going to be about 5 to 7 years before I even began speaking at such conferences. I thought that it was going to take me a while, but what ended up happening was I don't want to call it luck, guys. I stepped into my mission, and I kind of, within a matter of 2 years, my book became a bestseller consecutively. By the way, for those that haven't ordered our Cosmic Origin, there was a reason why it became a bestseller. A lot of people are actually getting activated by all of that intense depth knowledge that I explore in that book, that I revealed in that book. It's a very, puts everything into perspective. But I didn't realize that it was going to like happen so fast for me. But then again, they told me, the guardian races told me that when the people were ready for this next level information, that that they were going to be there. And so I'm very grateful to be here at this time, and I'm grateful for everyone who, you know, took the chance, you know, invited me on their show and interviewed me. I had over 100 interviews in a period of just 6 months last year in 2020, not 2023, in 2022. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that everybody wanted to know about my story and about what I had to share. So, with that in mind, let's talk about some of the star children or star adults, because a lot of us are in our what, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and some of the early incarnates are in their 80s. So, I want to welcome everyone and also thank you for volunteering in coming into this earth at this time since the 40s. But it is believed, guys, that some of the first star people or indigos started coming in the late 1800s. And I strongly believe that Nikola Tesla was one of them. All right. I don't know so much about Albert Einstein. Come to find out, I heard he was a plagiarist, and he took some of this information from other people. For instance, the idea that E equals MC square and the general theory of relativity wasn't really his own. That's what I've been hearing. I don't know if it's true, but what I do know is that people like Nikola Tesla, who was the real deal, the real genius, right? But he, toppled heads with J.P. Morgan and his guy Edison. So unfortunately, they went ahead and they financed and sponsored Edison, right? Because Edison was using a primitive way of harnessing energy, which is which is nothing like the way Tesla was, which was nothing the way it was nothing the way Tesla discovered it to be, right? When you harness 0 point energy, I mean, that would be like next level stuff. So I wanted to share the differences and characteristics of the indigos, which makes the majority of us. Like again, some of the indigos are adults; they're in their 80s. Some of us are in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then you also have the crystal children that are now anywhere from 20 years old to 35, or even 15 to 35. And then, of course, you also have the rainbow children that have been coming in since 2012 that are children. They're probably anywhere from 10 to about 20 years old. And those are the rainbow children. But let's go over their characteristics and qualities. Now, from what I understand, guys, as a star child, okay, I think I'm rainbow. I think I was one of the first rainbow incarnates. I'm not sure, because I do um, feel within me that I carry the full spectrum of the light frequencies, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo. But then again, I could also be an indigo. I could also be a crystal child. I am not sure, guys. But one thing I do know is that I was able to tap into my gifts at an early age. Like I mentioned in many interviews, when I first came into this world or into this body, I was already fully aware of who I was and where I was coming from. And of course, due to my religious upbringing, it was suppressed. Fast forward to age of 16, 17, it's starting coming out again. And that's when I discovered that I had a thing for learning, that my superpower was in knowledge, pretty much. I was told I had a super intelligence, that my gift was related to a super intelligence. That's what I was told as a kid from people that were able to see my aura. So, one of the first persons to coin the term star, or what we call indigo children, I believe it was Dolores Cannon. And according to Dolores Cannon, who, by the way, is a legend, right? She is one of the founders of this community, of this, movement and stuff. She said that in the 60s, people started seeing children with auras that were purple, right? Or indigo auras. And that's how they received the term indigo. So, from what I understand, is that the indigos are the system busters. They are the nonconformists, right? They're here to break down the system. They're here to pretty much destroy the matrix in order for the crystal children to come and then rebuild. So the indigos are the rebels, right? So, like I said, I think I have a little bit of everything in me because I've always been a rebel, right? That's why I became a punk rocker at the age of 16. I was rebelling against the establishment. And then, so the indigos are the rebels. There's the system busters. They're here to destroy the old program that no longer is suitable, right? That no longer works for the benefit of humanity, in order to give way to the incarnation of the crystal children. Now, the crystal children are the children that are already coming in, um, embedded in the law of one, which is unity consciousness. So they're already coming in with the Christ mind. So they're little Buddhas, right? They're little, avatars that wouldn't even hurt a fly. They're strongly, you could say, they're strongly embedded in the concept of how everything is sacred in life and how everything is interconnected. So they love all living things. All right. And they are the kind of people that would rather turn away from a conflict or an argument or a fight than be involved in some sort of conflict, because they believe in peace and they want nothing to do with hurting anyone. Okay. So they are strongly already rooted in the concept of the Christ mind. Okay, so those are the crystals, right? And then from what I understand is that the rainbow children carry the best of all the different, qualities from the different rays, right? For those that watched my video of the Elohim and the guardians of creation, right? The original Elohim are the adepts and administrators of these cosmic rays. So I believe the rainbow are the most advanced souls out of the three categories because they've already completed everything. They've already ascended. They've already climbed the ladder of initiation. And again, they chose to come back to the lowest density, right? So imagine how hard it was, or it is, for a rainbow child who is already ascended. He's already completed, right? One with universal awareness, right? 12th dimension, already reunited with its monadic self, to once again incarnate into a human body. You know how hard that was? Coming into these dense physical forms existing in the third density. Yeah, it's brutal, right? It's brutal. It makes you want to just exit yourself. But of course, we don't want to do that. And we never, and of course, we want to let everyone know that that is never the solution, right? Never the solution. We have to learn how to adapt, right? And that's what I did. I learned how to adapt. As hard as it was for me, as hard as it was for a lot of you here, growing up, right? It was very challenging, it was very, you could say, I don't want to use the word depressing, but in most cases, it was very depressing being down here in the third dimension after already completing the 12 levels of existence and reuniting back with the universal mind of everything that is. So I did pull up some articles regarding some of these children, just to give you guys an idea. So, first and foremost, according to Wikipedia, this is what they say about the Indigo Children. So, the Indigo Children are believed to possess special, unusual, and sometimes supernatural traits or abilities. The idea is based on concepts developed in the 1970s by Nancy Ann Tape. Okay, so I guess Nancy Ann Tape was the first one to coin the term indigo, right? That's when they started noticing that these new humans had an aura, right, that was giving off an indigo radiance. And this was before Dolores Cannon. So Nancy Ann Tate, who claimed to have been noticing indigo children beginning in the late 1960s. All right, so that means that she was noticing the first waves that came in the late 40s and in the 50s, right, where they were already grown in the 60s, and that's when she knew that these people were different than the Earth Terrans. Okay, so her idea was further developed by Lee Carroll, and Lee Carroll, by the way, I was on her show, uh, which is Cryon of Magnetic Services. I don't know if you guys watch that, but anyways, I think you have to have a subscription to watch her show, but she's awesome. Lee Carroll and Jane Tober. So the concept of Indigo Children gained popular internet with the publication of a series of books in the late 1990s and the release of several films in the following decade. A variety of books, conferences, and related materials have been created surrounding belief in the idea of indigo children and their nature and abilities. The interpretation of these beliefs range from their being the next stage in human evolution. The next stage of human evolution, guys, I talk about that. In fact, I dedicate a whole chapter to the rise of the next stage of human evolution, which is going to be triggered by the solar flash, right? So I guess I didn't make this up, you know. They know what's about to happen on this planet. Where was I? Okay, so where was I? Where was I? Okay, so the concept of indigo children gained popularity interest in the 1990s. A variety of books, conferences, and related materials have been created surrounding the belief of the idea of indigo children and their nature and abilities. The interpretation of these beliefs range from being the next stage of human evolution, in some cases, possessing paranormal abilities such as telepathy. That is correct, because remember, when I was a kid, I was communicating with animals, with plants and trees. And of course, I could also read others' thoughts. And then I come to find out that they couldn't do the same thing, so they thought it was crazy. Um, and of course, most of them, if not all, they're very empathetic, right? They could pick up on others' emotions, including animals. And let's see. So no, there is no scientific studies that give credibility to the existence of indigo children or their traits. Some parents choose to label their children who have been diagnosed with learning disabilities, and that is another, you know, you could say disgrace, right? Because that is being another disgrace in a way where this educational system and society is labeling us with ADHD or ADD just because we can't pay attention in class. So little do they know that we are bored in class, right? You know, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I don't know how many people here were diagnosed with ADHD, but that's a label that they give us, okay? Let's see. So no scientific proof. Okay, some parents choose to label their children who have been diagnosed with learning disabilities as indigo children to alternatively diagnose them as an alternative diagnosis. It makes no sense. Critics view this as a way for parents to avoid considering pediatric treatments or a psychiatric diagnosis. Some list of traits used to describe indigo children have also been criticized for being vague enough to be applied to most people, a term of for effect. Anyways, okay, so that's what the that's what they describe in Wikipedia. But if we read some of these other articles by people who have been actually pioneers in our field, it sounds a little different. It begins to sound a little different. Okay, so one second. All right. So, what are star children? According to Nikki Patillo from the website starchildren.info.starchildren, are children who have been sent to Earth from all over the universe. Some even argue they are fallen stars to help in the upleveling of our planet. They come with specific psychic and spiritual and sensory gifts. Star children usually choose the parents that best fit their needs to reach their highest potential. So, beginning with the Indigos, okay? In the 1970s, the idea was further developed by Nancy Ann Tate, and then later by Lee Carroll and Jan Tober, introducing the term indigo children. Tate noticed that more and more children were born with indigo auras during the late 1960s and the early 1970s. There is also the belief that the 1980s and 1990s were high points of their births, but also that many are still born today. Some argue that the term was coined against the increasing over medication of children who apparently have ADD or ADHD as a way to explain their child's behavior. Something I can totally get behind. Okay, so that is the problem, guys. You know how many times they tried to drug me when I was a kid because I wouldn't focus in school. I was sitting in the back of the class daydreaming, but really I was having visions and they thought I was autistic. I mean, don't get me wrong or anything, you know what? I I completely understand why they do this because they don't understand that our brains are wired differently. All right. And they tried medicating me. Luckily, my mother, who was a person who was awake, saw through the BS and said, "No, you guys are not going to medicate my son." But just imagine how many of you out there had to get medication as kids, or how medication was forced on you because you were a kid. You had no other choice. It sucks, guys, because they don't understand that our brains are wired differently than the average Earth Terran, right? We come in with a higher mental capacity, a higher cranium, right? Where all of a sudden this part of our brain that unites left and right hemispheres is more fortified, right? They call it the higher brain. So we come in with the higher brain already fully intact. Okay. All right. Let me just see. Oh, wait. What did I just do? Oh, there we go. I almost exited myself out of my life here accidentally. All right. Traits of an indigo children, which are now indigo adults. Again, everyone on this live is an indigo adult all the way to your 80s. All right. So indigo children showcase many different traits. It's important to notice that these are somewhat generalized and that not all traits apply to every indigo child. They are usually, they are usually highly intelligent, very empathetic. All right. Well, hello. You know, a lot of us were like, we didn't pay attention in class, but yet we were able to ace everything. Think about it. You know, very empathetic, right? We pick up on other people's emotions, especially animals, often perceived as strange, possessing a clear sense of self definition and purpose. Highly intuitive. Highly intuitive. Well, that is a trait that you are an older soul. When you are an intuitive empath, you sense things beyond the physical. Is like the number one indicator that you are a star adult. I guess in our case, we're no longer children; we're adults, right? We're star adults. Creative indigo children are often highly creative, expressing their many experiences from their past lives, which they can't always fully comprehend, as well as their emotions through writing, painting, dancing, or singing. They also tackle problems from a unique angle. On the downside, they quickly get bored by reality as their imaginary world is by far more entertaining. Guys, that is so true. Okay, I'm going to reveal something about myself. Because I had such a big imagination as a kid, I didn't stop playing with my toys till the age of 17. All right. I don't really care what people say. I was 16, 17, and I was still using my imagination with these little muscle characters. And I would fabricate, like, teams, wrestlers, different things, like anything that I would see on TV, I would mimic in my own imagination with these little, um, you could say, muscle. They were called little muscle guys. They were like this big. And I used to have like 100 of those. So I used to do all kinds of things with my little toys, and I was 16, 17, still playing with my little toys because I had a big imagination. Okay. Um, I really don't care. I was 16, 17. I was playing with little toys. Hey, I'm going to admit it, guys. All right. But that's just because I had a big imagination. And yeah, it's part of being, you know, a star child, or in this case, a star adult. Okay. So let's see. What else? What else? Okay. So they are very rebellious. Yeah, I rebelled. I got F authority on my forearm here. F authority tattooed. Anarchy, right? Playing in a punk band. Um, so they also tackle problems from a unique angle. On the downside, they quickly get bored by reality as their imaginary world is far more entertaining. And that is so true, guys. I used to escape my high school situation because I wasn't, accepted in high school. So I couldn't wait to get home and play with my little toys. I was a junior in high school and I was still playing with my little man, my little toys. I used to live in my imagination, guys. I used to live in my imagination as a kid, of course. Well, as a teenager in this case. Very rebellious, as the highly insightful and creative beings that they are, they often struggle with strict rules and governments all the time. Thus, trying to break from social norms and finding their own way in life. Others decide to rebel peacefully but with determination. This behavior may lead to indigo children appearing as introverts. It's reality, it's just that their way to retreat from all the negative in the world. And that is so true, guys. I love my alone time. There's times where I just want to shut down from social media and just take 2 days off where I'm just alone and I don't want to be in no social setting with anybody but just me and my spirit guys, and that's it. I love my alone time. Okay, I said it before and I'll say it again. Most of my knowledge and wisdom came when I was alone, when I was a hermit, pondering, meditating, doing the research. That's how I wrote my book, right? you know, I love my alone time. All right, this is so true. Indigo children come with various, unique skills such as an incredible memory that is usually very useful later in life. And that is true, guys. I've come to understand out of all the thousands of books that I read, somehow I was able to, store those books in some sort of files. I don't know how I do that. But when it came to the subjects that they taught me in school, it's just I ignored them. I didn't really care about what they were teaching me. But when it came to my research on subject matters that I showed interest in, all of a sudden I developed a photographic memory. Go figure. I don't know how that happens. Let's see. Come with various skills. Okay, so most of them are drawn to technology. Um, mm, Not me. I was never drawn to technology. Probably to help them reach more people with their message. Okay, so in this case, it's social media. And that's true. Okay. It took me a while to be comfortable with social media, guys. When I first came on the scene, I had only Instagram and I didn't feel like posting. I didn't feel like putting out any reels or talking because I was afraid of public speaking. Okay. I've always been an introvert. Okay. But I had to just get out of my shell and go out there and share what I know. All right. I had to push myself. It was very hard for me to be on social media, just letting you guys know. Um, let's see what else. Most of them are drawn, okay, where they also have high vibrational energy levels that helps them to easily communicate with spiritual beings. That's also true. Their nightmares in childhood are often caused by spiritual visitors. Indigo children come to this earth to challenge the existing system. We are system busters, guys. We're here to break down the inverted matrix, okay, to usher in a new era. Sometimes something that their previous generation had no problem coping with. They are preparing us for the next, even more evolved generation, the crystal children. Okay. So the crystal children began to incarnate sometime in the year 2000. So they are millennials. So let's see. Crystal children were born, okay, never mind, before the year 2000, according to this article. They were coming in since the early 1990s and 2010. Some of them are even earlier. So that means that some of them probably started coming in the mid 80s. Okay, so now we're going into the crystal children. All right. So who are the crystal children? They came to lead us back to love and peace and teach us to live in unity instead of individually or in ego. Like I mentioned, guys, the crystal children are the beings that are already incarnating with a full understanding of the Christ consciousness. And they are living examples of that. Many of them hold the gifts of clairvoyance and healing. Their aura appears to be octarine. Octarine. I wonder what color that is. Oh, perhaps octarine sounds like an orangey, perhaps. Their aura appears to be octarine, not visible, or perhaps even white. I'm sorry, not visible to the human eye and therefore called crystal. Okay, so apparently when they are being seen by a medium who sees auras, they can't see their aura because it's beyond the rainbow. All right, so that's why they're called crystals, because they just exert a white light, in other words. Traits of a crystal children. Crystal children are very forgiving, but also sensitive, warm, and caring. Their traits must what? Their traits must not become confused. Okay, their traits must not become confused with weakness, as these children are very powerful. They also have the ability to talk to people who passed away and the beauty of the world. No, I'm sorry. They also have the ability to talk to people who passed away and are very simple. So apparently, the crystal children communicate with the deceased ones. All right, according to this. Um, well, I do communicate with my mother, by the way. So I guess I don't know if that makes me an indigo or a crystal, or I could be a little bit of both. But I, ever since my mother passed away at the age of 16, there's times where I could actually telepathically communicate with her. Let's see. They love nature and the beauty of the world. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I went to the mountains earlier today, by the way. I went to the mountains and I was able to just hug a tree and relax underneath the tree in the mountains. It was beautiful. And I was, very, very, the feeling of being in nature, guys, it's just so, I can't even describe it. It's serene. Okay. Um, They also have the ability to talk to people who passed away. I've already read that. Okay. Then they are in over their heads to possess their crystal light. This is quite normal as crystals serve as healing tools for them to embrace their natural ability to heal and help others. Other characteristics include long-lasting relationships, love of music, sensitivity to small things, calming presence, good at meditation. For a crystal child to truly thrive, busy environments and too much stress must be avoided. Well, I do have those traits, guys. It's very hard for me to adapt to the 9 to 5 thing. Um, it is normal for those children to start speaking at an older age, usually around 4, as they have the ability to communicate with other minds. And that is also true, guys. And this is where I don't even know why they labeled me in the spectrum of autism, because I couldn't speak till I was like 4 and a half. And it's not that I didn't want to speak verbatim. I was so used to being telepathic, and they didn't understand that. So I could be a crystal because of the fact that I was a mute. I was a mute to the age of 4. All right. I couldn't speak till the age of 4. And it's not so much because I didn't want to put words together like everybody else was doing at the age of 2 or earlier, but it's just because I was so used to communicating telepathically. So this is so true. They will display magical abilities that have never been seen before and will make it possible to manipulate energy in new ways. This oftentimes leads to problems with electricity. Well, that's true also because there's many of times where I walked into different places and all of a sudden their computers just shut down because of my energy. Okay. I'm sure a lot of you relate to this. Ultimately, crystal children teach us to see the creation of miracles as a normal activity to honor our planet as well as ourselves and to live in the present moment, not influenced by the past or the future. They show us to live from our heart, to forgive, and to be tolerant. Like I said, they're already born in with the Christ mind fully intact. Now let's go over the rainbow children. The rainbow children. Rainbow children came to the earth in 2000 and beyond, after 2000. Some were even born before that to test the grounds. They are usually born to crystal children from the late 1980s. Their auras holds are few more spectrums of ray colors. Interesting. They are born with a huge heart and bring joy and harmony to their families. Negative emotions don't impact them as much as they are quickly able to recover. They are psychic and can read people's feelings. Like I said, I could be a combination of all three, guys, because I also have characteristics that are, like the rainbow children, right? Many of you probably are relating to more than just one category as well. Okay, so there's strong connection to color mirrors in their colorful clothes and them being naturally drawn to colors. Okay, so these children also come with their unique traits. They don't fear anything and know exactly where their protection lies. Some may argue that you experience divinity by locking into the eyes of a rainbow child. Not so much is known about these children yet, as they are mostly still in the toddler stage. Interesting, interesting. All right, another trait is that negative emotions don't impact them as much as they are quickly able to recover. That is true. I have that trait. Nothing gets me. People try to piss me off, flip me off when they're driving, and I just bless them, like literally, like like I don't find the value in conflict, guys. I really don't. I am a warrior though when it comes to protecting the innocent, but when it comes to the actual, my fellow man, I am the most loving, when it comes to that, I am the most loving person when it comes to that. Let's see what else. The crystal children come down with their unique traits. They don't fear anything. Some may argue that you experience divinity by just looking into their eyes. No, I'm sorry. These are the rainbow children, okay? Not much is known about these children yet, as they are mostly still in their toddler years. So following are characteristics that were identified with the rainbow children. Very loving and generous, okay? Mostly in their world. Guys, I've always lived in my imagination. Like I said, as a kid, even as a teenager, I still played with my little man because I had such a big imagination. I mean, come on, who still plays with their toys at the age of 16, 17? Not a lot of people do, right? Well, I did, and I'm not embarrassed of it. Okay. I have actually never shared this before, but it's okay. Let's see. So they're mostly in their world, tendency to care for others. They can withstand hardships and are very brave, prefer being telepathic. There are times where I wish I could just express some information telepathically. It's very hard for me to still put things into words, guys. Okay. I don't know how it happens. When I go to these expos and I'm able to deliver a 1 hour, 2 hour presentation and it just flows. Perhaps I'm tapping into my higher self. But if I wasn't tapping into my higher self, I wouldn't be able to stand in front of 200-300 people and deliver a presentation. All right. So it's very hard for me to put things into words, even up to today. Okay. It's very hard for me. So sometimes I just have to tap into my higher self, I guess. Sorry, guys. I have an itch in my nose. I don't even know why. All right. So rainbow children are also very creative, have a strong persona, are high in energy, and can easily manifest anything they want and need. They express their need very strongly, which may come across as stubborn. But this is not the case, as they are born with knowledge on proper character integration. They also have the natural ability to clear toxins from food, being immune to junk food. This may happen physically at a very young age until they learn to clear etherically or spiritually. Rainbow children are born with no karma. Hold on, let me blow my nose. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so according to this article, and I've heard this before, that rainbow children are born with no karma. That means that these are the souls that have already completed all their levels of initiation and ascension, where they have no karma. They're already one with the cosmos, right? They've already reunited their own consciousness with Prime Creator Source, the Infinite Creator. So no wonder they come with no karma. Let's see. So even though they're born with no karma, they love to live life with no strings attached to their past. Okay, so yeah, that's a little quick explanation of the different categories, traits, and qualities of the different star people that are now living among us in the millions. I would say a good over 80 million plus now, with all the rainbow children that have been coming in. That's a lot of children, guys. We're pretty much, yeah, even though we're still under the 1%, when it comes to the 80 billion people on this planet, I'm sorry, 80 billion, 8 billion, 8 billion people, with 30% of them being NPCs, We're still in the small percentage. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, when the disclosure comes to the normie, to the average person, to the unawakened, guess who they're going to be seeking for guidance? Us. We, the awoke, the awakened, are going to be the mentors of the earth terrans. And one of the things that I foresee in the new earth is the eradication of the educational systems as we know it. Um, the way they designed the educational system, which is just trying to, I guess, memorize what they want us to know, right? It's really just left brain only, right? They don't encourage us to be creative. They don't encourage us to um, use our imagination, right? They don't teach us the different levels of consciousness. So I strongly believe that in the new earth, this whole system is going to be eradicated. And instead of having teachers where you have one teacher per 30 to 40 students, you're going to have mentors. Each child is going to have anywhere from 5 to 6 mentors, and each mentor is going to specialize in one of the different fields of life. You're going to have a mentor that specializes in developing psychic abilities through meditation. You have a mentor that's going to help the child with physical attributes like how to stretch, how to work out, how to exercise correctly, like a health coach. You're going to have a mentor that's going to teach the child real history, and then teach the child how to become a critical thinker. So as we enter this new world, I strongly believe that the new educational system is going to be one of mentorship rather than having teachers, right? That's my opinion. And I talked about that in one of my last chapters as I saw a vision of what the new earth would be like. I didn't see schools anymore. What I saw was centers for higher learning. And in each center, you had children that were being mentored by multiple teachers, or I don't want to use the word teachers, but by multiple educators. And one educator, every educator is teaching the child according to their field of study. And the most important thing is that it's all based on the idea of consciousness growth and expansion. you know and that, my friends, is how we evolve into spiritual mature civilizations. It all starts with the reformation of our educational system. So if you guys have any questions, throw them at me. I'm here for you guys. We have about 20 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and take questions from my phone. I'm just going to take random questions. All right, so this is a question from Lee Starr. She's asking, Ishmael, do the 144,000 know who they are yet? I believe that some do, and a lot of you are here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if all of you guys here on the chat and those that watch the replay are part of 104 are part of the 144,000. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, because one of the intentions that I set when I first started talking and teaching on social media was to attract the others, the team, the 144,000. And so the fact that you guys are attracted to my channel tells me that you guys are part of the 144,000, and not just the people here on the live, but also the people that are going to catch this on the replay. Well, that's my personal belief. So I would assume that a lot of you guys are indigos, indigo adults, all the way to the age of 80s, right? Perhaps I might have a few crystal adults here that are in their 30s. And then I might have just 1 or 2 or 3 rainbows that are in their 20s. But I would assume that the majority of the viewers are indigos. That's right, within the law of one. Yeah. That is a cosmic principle. It is a universal law, that is being practiced by many civilizations that are mature, that are spiritually mature, that use technology for good, right? Not for evil. That's right. Cosmo Girl is saying we are the 144,000. Absolutely. Like I said, I believe that everyone that's going to watch this video is part of the 144,000. And that's what my intuition is confirming. No, it's not laundry night tonight. Luckily for me, no laundry tonight, guys. All right, so Crypto Mama says she has a question, but it's hard for her to put it into words. Wish I could telepathically ask you. Try me. Try me. See if I could answer it here in public. Mhm. Cosmic Goddess, thank you so much for your super chat. She has a question. She says, "Hi Ishmael, will star seeds go back to the dimension where they came from when the solar flash takes place?" And then the next part of your question is, "What dimension did first wavers come from?" That is a very good question, Cosmic Goddess. So to answer the first part of your question, that's going to be up to you guys. That's going to be your choice. But do know that as the Earth ascends and the Earth takes her rightful place in the cosmos at the epicenter of our universe, right? We're going to be literally um, picked up and put at, or translated from where we're at the outer skirts of our galaxy and put at the center of our galaxy, right? Where the big bulge of light is. And then in turn, the Milky Way is going to be at the center of the cosmos. So bear in mind that the Earth is going to be the new headquarters world, where us, the guardians of the new Earth, are going to be able to oversee the cosmos from this Earth. So it's going to really be up to you if you want to go back to your home planet. But why go back to your home planet where you're going to have the ability to teleport through your light body, where you could be living here and then visiting your home planet and then coming back? Or you could live in both places. You could have a house here, right? Or a house there. And then the second part of your question, she says, "What dimension did the first wavers come from?" I believe that the first wavers come from Harmonic Universe 2, which occupies dimensions 4, 5, and 6. That's where the first wavers came from. So they came from, the Pleiades, they came from Arcturus, they came from Orion. Some of them are even from Andromeda, so on and so forth. And then we also have another super chat from RVCZK. Thank you so much for your super chat, sister or brother. I don't know if it just says RV. I'm just going to call you. Thank you so much, RV. Hi, Ishmael, my brother. Can medbeds heal also genetic defects such as dwarf people to put them into normal growth? Um, that I am not sure. I'm not going to answer a question I don't know, but it could be possible. The med beds pretty much heal everything, not only physical ailments, but also mental disorders. From what I understand, they heal everything. But as far as like your height, that's a good one. I'm not sure about that one. Now, the second part of your question is, when do you think med beds will be available for humanity after EBS or solar flash? Immediately. Immediately. I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. Um, what was her name? She goes by the name of Price. There's this lady whose last name is Price, who is actually already working on making sure that these medvids are available to the masses and free, meaning you don't have to pay for them, right? They're going to be absolutely free. So Gabriel F is asking how many seats are on the Emerald Council. There's different levels and in functionary offices, or how can I say? There's um, the Emerald Council is consisting of different orders. From the highest, you have the Order of Gold, the order which is the Order of Elohim, right? The Council of Seven, the Council of 12, the Council of 13 now. And then you have the Silver Order, and you also have the Double Diamond Sun Order. So you have different categories, you could say. But I guarantee you this, that everyone here that volunteered, all indigos, crystals, and rainbows, are all working within the Emerald Order. So I would say it's there is no number to describe how many seats there are, because I believe that every single one of you is part of the Emerald Order. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be here. You guys took an oath, by the way. We all took an oath to help save planet Earth, and hence the organic way of life, right? That was a very good question, by the way. So somebody's asking me, Sharon Rose asking me, Ishmael, his do heal nerve damage from car accidents. I think you're trying to ask me if medbeds healed nerve damage. Absolutely. Like I said, medbeds heal everything, even mental disorders. Yes, JDC is asking if Dolores Cannon introduced the idea of the Indigo Children. Absolutely. But like I mentioned before, Dolores Cannon, it was that lady by the name of Nancy Ann Tape. She introduced that concept in the 70s. Remember, guys, Dolores Cannon didn't come out until the 90s, 20 years later. So the original person who coined the term indigo was Nancy Ann Tape. Tape is spelled Tappe. I see I have another super chat from Trenton Williams. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. What is the definition of a hybrid soul? Can you please explain what that is? Absolutely. Well, some of us, here in this chat, and some of us that are going to watch the replay are hybrid souls. And what that means is that you are a combination of different things. You know how, like, most of us identified when it comes to our star origin, we identify with one specific group, right? Like Arcturus, Pleiadian, Lyran, Andromedan. Well, a soul hybrid has a little bit of everything. They've been around. They have multiple incarnates and multiple parallel lives in every different galaxy, in every different star system, and in every different universe. In fact, they're considered the most advanced souls in the cosmos because they've already experienced life on every level of reality, in every dimension, on every planet. And that could be equated perhaps to the concept of the rainbow children who come in with no karma. All right, so those are the soul hybrids. They're a mixture of every different star system. So they are Pleiadian, Lyran, Andromedan, Arcturian, Sirian, Alcyone, Cassiponian from star system of Cassiopeia. I can't even say it. Cassiopeia. They're Hadarian, Epsilon Eridani, Tassetian. I mean, the list goes on, guys. These guys are they've had an embodiment on every star system. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of you hybrid souls are on the live right now or are going to watch it on the replay. Cassiopeia, the star system of Cassiopeia. How can I forget? That was one of the first star systems that my family, the early Lyrans, colonized after the Draco destroyed our first home planet, unfortunately. Thank you, Deb. Soul Tribe says, thank you, Ishmael. We are definitely here with you. Love these little chats. Thank you, guys. I love every single one of you, by the way. I feel like you guys are my true family. Like I finally reconnected with my family. You guys, every single one of you, and everyone that watches this. Oh. All right, so Chastine Rose is asking, will we be contacted? I don't know if your question is referring to the idea of us being contacted by our star family. Um, I believe that that's already happening. See, let me tell you something about first contact, which is imminent, by the way, right? It all starts with us, guys. Every single one of you guys, every person that is a star adult now is part of the first contact team. You guys are already, you could say, as when the solar flash takes place and your dormant DNA becomes activated, we are going to be emerging as the aliens. I hate to use that word, right? Because to the average Earth Terran who didn't activate the superpowers, and they see these X-Men like people flying around, teleporting, and doing all kinds of wonderful things, they're going to think we're aliens, guys. They're going to be like, where do they come from? And then that's when we're going to be like, well, we've kind of always lived among you. We just didn't have our powers yet. So I believe that first contact begins with us, begins with us. And some of you might even already have established some sort of communication between you and your star family. All right. And that's normal too. I constantly communicate with the Lyran fleets and the Syrian High Council. So there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, every time I get a powerful download and I want to share the message to the galactic community, to the galactic Jedis, it's because of the fact that I was able to download the information from my galactic family. So we, the ground crew, we're the beginning of first contact. So Claire Morgan is asking, Ishmael, will we know all our friends? Are you talking about our like us? We are your friends. We are Soul Tribe here. Is that what you're referring to? Or are you talking about the ETs? Well, when we merge as the next stage of human evolution, there's going to obviously be some sort of first contact with our galactic community, because then we're going to be the mediators, guys. We're going to be the ones that are going to introduce the Earth Terrans to the galactic societies. Oh, okay, so this is another question from Clarity, comes from Contrast. Question: if someone recently passed, will they still ascend, and will we be able to see them? Yes, in fact, I strongly believe that those that have passed are already waiting for us in the new Earth. So as the solar flash takes place and we transition into the new Earth, we will already see our loved ones again. Yes, absolutely. Staff Ara is saying, "What about my dogs? Will I see them?" Absolutely. Even animals are going to be in the new earth. Dogs and cats. Yes. If you guys have had a dog or a cat that has also passed on, you will see them in the new earth. Now, another thing I wanted to mention, guys, is that all of a sudden, all over the media, including the news, the Mockingbird media, are talking about the what would happen in in the event that our sun releases such an EMP or CME that causes an EMP and takes down the entire grid, right? Where there is no internet for weeks or months. They're already talking about that. They're talking about this because they know that our sun is getting ready to what? To release that final trigger. But what they don't know is that that's going to be the catalyst of the awakening and activation of our dormant DNA. That's what they don't know. But they are warning people that due to the fact that the CMEs are getting stronger and stronger, that it might come to the point where our grid system, our entire, internet, it's all going to shut down for weeks or perhaps even months. Right? So for those who don't understand the spiritual ramifications behind that and don't understand the prophecies, right? The rise of the next stage of human evolution, which is us, they don't know. So they're just kind of like they're it's like almost like they're trying to create fear in people. Well, what are we going to do with no internet? What are we going to do with no phone, with no, nothing? It's part of the prophecies, guys. It's all part of the prophecies. And, you know, we started off 2024 with massive earthquakes worldwide. A lot of earthquakes are taking place right now. And that is another indicator that the earth is about to shake off her fleas, the bad guys. So, ascension, the solar flash is imminent, guys. Nothing can stop it. Even though they talk about it as a bad thing, right? They're trying to create fear mongering, but it's not going to be a bad thing. Who cares if there is no internet for the next few months? As long as we activate our superpowers, I'm down with that. Forget about cell phones when I could just communicate with all of you telepathically, right? Forget about getting in my car and starting it where I could just fly or teleport over and visit some of you guys. It's think about it. Who cares about the grid going down? What's important is what's going to be taking place as a result of this huge CME blast. Wow, something just happened here. All of a sudden, oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to take two more questions. That's right. April 2nd is the beginning of the new year. I totally agree that the new year begins in April and not January 1st. I totally agree with that. So Renee Velasco is asking me to speak about the list, the pedo list, right? I don't want to say the island. Um, hey, a lot of these celebrities and politicians are doing everything in their power to make sure that the New York court, right, does not reveal who these people are. But it's imminent, guys. It's coming. It's coming. And unfortunately, a lot of these people that we thought were good, Eminem, um, Ellen DeGeneres, unfortunately, um, even Michael Jackson, I hear, it's going to be a shocker. I think that's going to, honestly, I think that list is going to be the beginning of disclosure. And then after they release those names, then they have to disclose everything else. Think about it. They have to, and that's why I believe that the White Hats are winning. That's why I believe the White Hats are about to expose the cabal, beginning with that list. So I heard that January 28th or 26th is when they release the list, when the state of New York releases the list to the general public. That's going to be, I believe that's going to send shockwaves to the rest of the cabal, telling them that their time is up. And all these celebrities in Hollywood, they're all going to go down. 80% of them, guys. 80% of them. Bruce Willis, Tom Hanks, Angelina Jolie. Oh my God. I mean, that's just, I don't even want to go on. But, anyways, no wonder Brad Pitt left her. Brad Pitt was not on the list. I would divorce my wife too if she was a pedo. You know what I mean? Anyways, all right, guys. I think that is it for tonight. I'm excited to see what happens on the 28th of January when they do release the list. That could be the beginning of the fall of the cabal, the beginning of disclosure, and the great reveal that everyone's been talking about. So with that in mind, let's see, any more questions? No, that's it. All right, awesome. Well, may the God force be with all of you guys tonight, and I will see you guys Saturday night at the same time, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And the subject matter will be 144,000. What is the meaning? And who are the 144,000? And the order of Melchizedek, the great white brotherhood. That's going to be the topic for Saturday evening. All right, guys? I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.